Go over it again. Let me go to let's go to Blackboard. And I'm just going to pull up Blackboard. And log on to Blackboard. Now, this is the only time you have to do it because I don't ever use Blackboard, and I'm forced to use it here because they want us to use it. I guess so they can justify somebody's job. I don't know. Find your class. Of course, it would be simple just to have the class for the semester, but what do? They put every class that I've had since the beginning of time. So I have no idea what y'all's class number is. What is 140? Give me one of y'all's section numbers. Anybody know? Is it 03, 04, 05?
3.
Okay, I'll just click on 3 then. All right, go over here and hit My Labs Plus. This is where everybody's having a problem. Now, you only have this problem, I think, when you go through Blackboard. Go figure. All right? Now, when you go to, after you go through the initial, let me explain this if I haven't explained it before. Like I said, for some reason, they meaning Tri-County Tech, wants everybody to go through Blackboard to go to their other applications. I personally think it's because somebody wants to justify using it, okay? Or somebody's job. That's why I think. But the initial time that you go through Blackboard, you only have to do it one time. So hit the Blackboard, the My Labs Plus, then hit this one time and wait on it. Okay, of course it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But what it'll do is it'll sit there and spin over and over and over. Has it done that to anyone? Did it to you? Okay. What you do is you go up to the right-hand side of the address bar, and there'll be a shield, a triangular shield. It'll be grayed out, or it'll have a red X on it. You right-click on that red X, and you say, allow content. I didn't say left click, did I? I said right click. If you have a red X, you right click on that red X and you put allow pop-ups or allow secure content. It may ask you once, it may ask you twice. Usually after the second time, it will look like this, or it'll look like this right here. That's when you go through the initial Blackboard link. After you go through the Blackboard link, do you have to use Blackboard to get to My Labs Plus?
No.
No. You type in that link I gave you, do your email for that one person that read their email, www.tctc.mylabsplus.com. And I'll show you what it'll look like. It'll look like this. Is this where you need to log on? Yes. Why? Because if you go here every time, it'll work. You don't know if Blackboard's going to be down tomorrow. So this is where you need to go to log in, but you need to do it after you go through the rigmarole of Blackboard. Does everybody understand that?
Hey, Hubert?
Yes.
Once you do that and you log in, go to that screen to log in, is it just going to take your regular Tri-County credentials?
Yes, you type in H. McClure. Well, did you notice I didn't put at TCTC? And then either your T number or your password, whatever you use. I've never changed mine, so I use my T number. And then hit sign in. And then you can save that on your desktop and just click on it, and nowadays it'll save, and all you have to do is click on it and hit yes. Okay? It's a whole lot easier than going through Blackboard. So please don't, unless you just like punishment, don't go through Blackboard. Just do it that one time. Okay? All right. Does anybody have a question on that? Does that help? Did you get through?
That's what I did, but it wasn't letting me log in.
Okay, that sounds like a password problem.
Sure.
Maybe you may have to, if you don't get in the next couple of days, you need to take that up with probably the help desk at Tri-County Tech, because it sounds like to me that somebody needs to reset your password or something, or you may have forgotten it.
But it's like my password works for everything else. Whenever I put it in for this, I keep getting.
Try your T number for your password.
It did that to me, and then I just did it through Blackboard, and then it let me do it through the link again.
Okay, that means you have to go through. Okay, I don't know why. I don't know why, but they want you to go through Blackboard for some reason. If somebody can think of a justification, I don't know, but I can't give it to you.
So my password is working fine for everything else. But as soon as I try it here, it's not working. So I'm not sure. It's my password. That's the problem.
Okay, you went through Blackboard?
Yeah, I logged into ETC, I logged into email, I logged into everything else with the same password. But then as soon as I tried it with Pearson, it wasn't working.
Yeah, no, but did you go from?
Yeah.
So you went through the link, and it won't take it.
Yes, exactly.
Have you ever changed it?
Well, except the first time when I changed it to from the TC number to.
Have you tried all different passwords that you've used and T numbers since you've been at Tri-County Tech?
Well, this is my first one, so I'll try my T number.
Try your T number. Try your T number. Because sometimes your T number may work. I don't know. If it doesn't work, then you're going to have to, let me pull up that, I think there's a handout that I sent y'all. I think it's called the MyLabs Plus handout. Did I send y'all one with MyLabs Plus?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up. Because it gives you an email address. Hold on, and I'll pull it up. I have to log in because Mayberry Community College, nobody uses their email in class, so they log you out after 15 seconds. So, 140, let's see, PDFs. I think I sent it in the first set. MyLabs Plus student login. Okay, write these two email addresses down. If your T number don't work, and if your T number don't work and your password don't work, but it works for everything else, email these two people, award6@tctc.edu or manzer1@tctc.edu. That's the best way to take care of it. And give them a description. Tell them your email and your password, your ID and your password works for everything except MyLabs Plus. And maybe they can fix it. Okay? Everybody got those two emails? award6@tctc.edu and manzer1@tctc.edu. Okay? And that's all I can tell you on that. Okay, I want to talk about one other thing that students were a little bit confused about, and then I'll ask if you got any questions on anything I covered, and that is the outline. Pull up the outline. And there's the outline. Now, if you notice, it says date, and I don't have a date there because I don't fill out the date. I don't do that because I have no idea how this class is going to go. I don't have any idea how many review questions y'all are going to ask. So I'm not going to put, what's today? I'm not going to put 514 right here and put 515 right there to set up myself, to put myself in a block. I'm not going to do that. I will tell you that we're going to spend 2.5 weeks on this, and we're going to spend 2.5 weeks on this, and we're going to spend 2.5 weeks on here. Now, if you want to go in and divide that 2.5 weeks up between these sections and put a date out here for your benefit, that's fine. Okay? But I'm not going to do that. This is how it works. If I cover 1.3 today, then that means I'm going to cover 1.4 tomorrow. Y'all don't come to class on Friday, do you? Good. So that means Wednesday I'm going to cover 2.1. And then Thursday I'm going to cover 2.2. Now, what I'm going to talk about a little bit today, what slows that down? And the only thing that's going to slow that down is what? You. Okay? On the questions that you send me. Now, let's say we get down to 3.2. Well, 3.2, that's the end of the what? That's the end of the unit. So that means that I'm going, the next time we meet after 3.2, I'm going to pull up the test in class. Now, I know I may have covered this the other day. I can't remember. But when I pull up the test in class, is that going to be exactly the same test that you're going to take? No. Okay? But it's going to be one that's very similar. Okay? The reason I'm pulling that test up is to tell you how the test is going to look. I'm also telling you how many problems are on the test, what kind of problems are on the test, and I'm also telling you, when I get through going over the test, I'll tell you when it's due. Today's the 14th, if I say that I'm going to start the test today, and I'm going to end it on the 18th. In the summer, I usually give you 4 days to take the test. You have 4 days to take it. So that way, if your grandmother died for the 5th time and you had 5 flat tires going to the funeral, you still got 3 days to take the test. That takes care of that excuse. You have 2 to 3 times to take the test. I take the highest grade. Okay? Now, also, when I put the date on the test, I put the date for the homework on the homework. I do all of that the day that I pull up the test. So you can always say it's going to be the meeting after the last what? Section. So when we get to 3.2, what does everybody have in the back of their mind? What is everybody saying in the back of their mind when I get to 3.2? We're going to have a test pretty soon. So all you hammies, all you people that worry about dates and worry about tests and worry about homework and worry about this, you worry about it when we get to 3.2. Does everybody understand that? And don't say yeah, because somebody's going to ask that same question in a week and a half from now. You're going to ask, when's the homework due? When's the test due? And I'm going to look at you like you're dumb as Hades. Will I respond? No. Because I've just now finished covering that, probably for the second time. Did I cover that before?
Yeah.
I thought I did. Okay, so that's what the outline, that's why you have the outline. Okay, now, I'm going to go back and cover, I don't know if I covered this the other day, but I'm going to cover it again because students pretty much suck as far as remembering things. So I'm going to go over it again. And I'm not going to pull the test up, but I'm going to talk about the homework. The homework did finally come up. I don't know what was wrong with the computer yesterday, but if you looked in the homework that I was trying to add, there it is. Now remember what I told you not to do when you opened it. Don't have a cardio infarction, okay? It's about 3 or 4 homeworks in one. So when you click on one of them, this is what you're going to see. Now, the fourth root of 16 is 2. We all know that. Okay? That's what that says, the fourth root of 16. But let's say you don't know it. So you hit 3. And you get it wrong. Okay? Then you go up here and you hit question, help. Now, I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to go over it one time. So if you got a notebook, you need to write it down, because I'm not going to answer the questions after this. Help me solve this is what we call a guided tutorial. What is a guided tutorial? A guided tutorial is when I don't just answer your question, I ask you questions as I show you how to do the problem. The key word there is ask questions. Okay, what does 16 1/4 mean? That means exponent over index. So that means I want the fourth root of 16. So I need to rewrite that as what? Now so far I've asked you 2 questions. Okay, and I haven't even answered the question yet. That's called a guided tutorial. When would you use a guided tutorial? When you have no earthly idea what you're doing. Okay? Let's say that you have forgotten all about the fourth root of 16 and how it's written as a rational exponent. That's why you would use it. It says blah, 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 write in radical form. It's telling you to rewrite it, exponent over index. So that'd be the fourth root of 16. And it's going to ask you to write that. Okay? Now, I realize that this is a simple question, and I realize that some of y'all probably wrote the book on calculus 2,000 years ago. Okay? That's not my point. My point is to show you that when you are introduced to material that you've never seen before, you might want to use the Help Me Solve This button versus the View an Example. When should you use View an Example? View an Example is when you're going over something that you can remember. Oh yeah, I know how to do that. I got to rewrite that with a radical. Yeah, that's what we do here. And then you go through and do it. You don't ask any questions. So the difference between these 2 learning styles, this one is when you're going over material that you've never seen before, or this one that you're going over material that you have seen before. Does everybody understand that? The video, that's for you visual learners. The visual learners, you know, most of them are guys because they don't need directions because they know it all. That's a visual learner. And I'm not going to go through all that, but anyway, it plays it.
So now let's summarize the rules.
Oh gosh,
for
that guy's been doing videos for trig and calculus for the last 115 years.
Rational numbers.
I don't know how old he is. He must have been 2 when he started.
A and B, for which the indicator.
What?
Maybe he's the one that wrote the book.
And he probably did 2,000 years ago. Listen, we have students that think that. We have students that think I don't know why they're at Tri-County Tech. They should be at NASA building the freaking space shuttle. They think they know every damn thing.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, so you go to Tri-County Tech when you should be at NASA. Anyway, whatever. Go walk on water. Take a couple of walks on water. All right, so and this is the question that I want to show you. Ask my instructor. And I think I showed y'all this, but again, I'm showing you for a reason. I'm showing you because that's what sets up the class. This button right here sets up tomorrow's class. Now, of course, there's only about 13 of y'all that have registered on the MyLabs Plus out of 20. So that means 7 of y'all are waiting on, I don't know what, but y'all probably going to fail. Probably losers and probably going to quit at life. But anyway, ask my instructor. You hit that. You know, you put a message in there. You suck, Hubert. You know, put something in there. Huberty, is that French? Hubert, and hit send. And hopefully it'll show up this time. It won't show up in the right place. But I'm just I know I showed you this the other day. And if you look in the Math 103, for some reason it sends it to the Math 103. I don't know why. And there it is. Okay, and then I click on that. Now, that's what sets up the class for the next class. All right? If I go through 1.4, then that means you are responsible for 1.4 homework. You go home and you do 1.4 homework as much as you can. And what do you do if you can't find help with the Help Me Solve This, and you can't find help with the video, and you can't find help with the Explain This? What do? You send it to me. And then what do? Well, it sends it, it'll eventually send it to the 140 folder. And I'll pull up 140 every day before class. If there's no emails there, what am I going to do? That was mumbling.
Go ahead and go to the next section.
You go to the next section. If there's 5 or 10 questions there, I'll go over them. The squeaky door gets the grease. If you don't send questions to me, that means that I think you understand what? The material. If you send questions to me, then I will go over them.
Did you say the homework was due after the test? During the time test you did?
The what? The what?
Did you say the homework was due?
No, it said when I get through going over the review, I will put the dates on the test, then I will put the dates on the homework. So on the review day, you'll know when the homework's due. It's usually 2 days after I do the review. And if you're a procrastinator, I don't care. You've got 2 days to do all that homework. You're supposed to do homework when I cover it. But some of y'all are not going to do that. So don't whine and complain if you are a procrastinator. All right, does anybody have any questions on those 2 things? The outline and the homework and the test and the dates? Everybody good? All right, let's look at the homework because I'm going to go over 2 or 3 sections. I'm going to go over questions today. I'm just going to do questions, and I'm just going to take some questions and just do them. So y'all need to take notes. For those of you that invented mathematics and invented calculus, let's talk about that. Do you need to stay home? Yes, because I don't want you in the class. Okay? If you wrote Calc 1, Calc 2, and Calc 3, stay your butt at home. Okay? Everybody understand that? Because if you're talking in class, or if you're texting, or if you're doing all that in class, then I'm assuming that you're what? That you know it all. And if you know it all, what do you need to be doing? Staying at home and curing cancer. So, does everybody understand my attitude toward that? Okay. And Pendleton, I'm just picking on you. Most of the people that walk on water, for some reason, go to Pendleton. I don't know why. I don't know why the Pendleton campus has got these people that think they know everything, but it's not y'all. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about in the past. Of all my classes, the Pendleton campus has all the JCs there.
I think it's because it's close to Clemson.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Clemson complex. That's
Okay, then maybe that's it. But anyway, hopefully y'all will change the rule on this in this class. Okay, maybe you will talk. Maybe you will have a sense of humor. I hope you do. Because lately, the Pendleton campus sucks as far as sense of humor. Maybe it's because they drink too much water, make water into wine, and drink too much. I don't know which one it is. All right, let's try number 6. I have no idea what these questions look like. So we'll just start with 6, and we'll just go from there, okay? Okay, this is a pretty simple question. It's an Algebra 2 question. Hopefully you'll, and I know you can't see. I know that's the first thing y'all want to whine about. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. This is what I do usually on problems. Except I'm going to break it up because that's the way you're supposed to do this problem. You're supposed to break it up. So there's the problem, and it's broken up into parts because you've got to use the law of exponents because you have the same bases. You got the same base with the x, you got the same base with the y, you got the same base with the z. You can use the quotient rule, you can use the inverse rule, you can use the power rule with the inverse rule. You can do it any way you want. There's several different combinations. Will it come out the same? Yes or no? Yes, if you do it correctly, yes. You can use the power rule with the inverse rule. You can use the quotient rule. You can use the inverse rule, then the power rule, however you want to. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. That's going to be negative 1 over 7. When you type in answers, I think most of the time with a web assignment, there was no pattern because a web assignment sucks. But with this one, I think they want you to put the negative in first and then hit the fraction symbol. Okay, most of the time I think that's the best way to do it. So that's why I put the negative out front, because you want to put that in and then hit the fraction symbol A over B. Okay? Okay, because I think they don't like to put the negative. Don't put the negative with the numerator or the denominator. That's just something I want you to realize. Here, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to use my inverse rule, and I'm going to bring this up and use the power rule. So that'd be negative 4 plus 8. I'm going to bring this up, and that's going to be y to the 2 minus what? Plus a negative 4, because you're using the power rule. Let me rewrite that because somebody will think that I'm... Again, this is a review. Everybody should be saying, oh yeah, this is simple. If you're saying I don't understand, we got a problem. Plus a negative 4. And then z, this is 9 plus a negative 3, which is 9 minus 3. So that's going to be negative 1/7. And negative 4 plus 8 is x to the 4th over 1. 2 plus a negative, or 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Y to the negative 2 over 1. And 9 minus 3 is 6. Z to the 6 over 3. I'm sorry, over 1. Now there's a rule in mathematics here in the United States of America. Why did I say that? Because I had, at one time, I went to Clemson. And when you're at Clemson, you have different teachers, okay? And most of the time I had my department head, the department head of mathematics there was Dr. Harden. He was about 4 foot tall and weighed about 97 pounds and grunted. If you go down to Martin Hall and go down at the bottom, his basement, his office was in the basement. When he died, they put a little plaque on his office. It was real neat. Anyway, he grunted. That means you know how to do this. That's how you had to actually decipher his grunts. Anyway, why am I telling you this? I have no idea. I had him most of my classes, but there was one year I had a Asian instructor for one of my classes, and they didn't give a rat's rear end about the negative exponent. And I asked him one time, I said, after class, I said, why don't you change, he said, in China or wherever he's from, I can't remember. He said, we don't care. So, you know, I don't know where you're from or anything, but in the United States, we make this what? We make the negative exponents what? Positive. So that means you're going to flip this using the inverse rule, and you're going to coincide. So that's going to be negative 1 times x to the 4th times z to the 6th. And what's going to happen to that y to the negative 2? It's going to come downstairs and become a positive 2. And therefore, your final answer is going to be negative x to the 4th, z to the 6th over y to the what? 2nd. Now, when we just got finished with that, there should be 2 things you should be saying to yourself. 1, I knew how to do that. 2, I remember how to do that. If you have no idea what I just did, then we need to talk, which I don't think that's true because most of y'all have had 110 and 111 or Algebra 2 and 111 or Algebra 2 and Pre-Cal. So this should be easy peasy. Okay? Question on that one?
So you were subtracting the negative 4, negative 8, right? And the 2 1.
Yeah, that's basically plus a negative is minus, yeah. The reason I wrote positive is because I'm using the power rule and bringing the inverse rule up. That's why I did it like that. Okay? All right, so let's go back and pick another question. I'm not going to type all that in because it's too tedious for me. I'm not going to do that. I get aggravated easy. So y'all play with that. That's why that's that's a benefit of being an instructor. I don't have to type that in. I'll type it in this way, 3. And then I'll do that 3 times, and y'all can check the answers just to make sure I know what I'm doing. Y'all can do that. So we'll do that. Final check. And there's the answer. Negative x to the 4th, z to the 6th. Oh, I forgot the 7, didn't I? Where's the 7? Oh, there's the 7. Yeah, I suck. The Russians beat me up and threw me in a van, and I forgot to write the 7 down. I'm sorry. There we go. Damn Russians. Y'all with me? Pendleton, settle down, please. Pendleton, y'all suck. People laugh. People think I'm serious. Y'all ever seen Peyton Manning's "You Suck" video? Y'all ever seen that video on Saturday Night Live? Well, y'all's parents. I'll tell you. Let me just show it to you. God. That's where I got that from, because I'd never forget watching Saturday Night Live one night and saw that video. It's a long time ago. I don't even know what year it was. SNL. Peyton, it is Peyton, right? Peyton's the older one, right? Peyton Manning. I think it's this one. Yeah, there it is. Anyway, he basically just beats the crap out of his kids. They're underprivileged kids. You seen this? Have anybody seen this before? Pendleton campus don't even say nothing. They just, are we supposed to read y'all's minds or what? Mr. Swords, have you seen this?
I have not.
Okay. Y'all don't get out very much up there in Beasley, do you?
Not really.
Okay.
Hands in. I'm going to have fun. We're going to encourage each other. Teamwork on 3. 1, 2, 3. Teamwork.
Peyton uses football to teach valuable lessons of communication.
Check. Watch the sail. Pink, watch the blitz. Brown, 55, razor. Stop.
What?
Oh. Get over. Get out of your ass.
You suck. That's where I got that from.
That's you. I can't even look at you. You know what? Let's take a photo of that in 20 minutes. That's right. Stay in. Close the door. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you want to lose? I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
All right. He's unconscious. And he teaches them how to break into a car.
Push it a little further and you should get through it.
I want to hear your clothes.
I told you, I forgot them.
Okay, anyway.
Last a lifetime.
Let me find out. It's looking good.
Okay. That's where I got the "you suck." So anyway, I don't know, when was that? Like 1990 or 2000? When was that? Let me play for. Doesn't say. Oh well. Okay, settle down, Pendleton. God, there's just no reaction whatsoever up there. Do y'all talk before class when y'all are in there, Pendleton? Do y'all talk to each other or what?
A little bit.
What do y'all talk about?
That was a little bit.
That's it, okay. So that's pretty much all y'all gonna talk today, right?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll just depend on easily. Mr. Swords, y'all won't let me down, will you?
No.
Okay,
Of course not.
Appreciate it. I know Anderson won't, but, Pendleton, they just...
I think it's because you're not actually there.
Is that what it is? They just don't want to talk to the TV? Is that it? I can talk to the TV all day long, but y'all can't talk to the TV. Y'all too good to talk to TV, right? I understand. I see how it is. We just make the class boring as hell is what we'll do. Is that what y'all want? Yeah, Hubert, that's what we want. Okay. I can't even find the daggum questions. Where's the questions? Where'd they go?
You were staring.
What?
It's in the.
There it is. All right, we just did 6, so let's do 8. Let's see if that's another. I didn't give y'all all. It just disappeared. Let's try 8 again. All right, try that one. Hold on, I'll write it down for those that's going to whine. 9c to the 5/4 power. 9c to the 5/4 power. Now there's one thing that you have to decide before you start this problem. What is it? Does the 5/4 go with the c, or does it go with the c and the 9? It goes with the c. Why doesn't it go with the 9? Because if it went with the 9, what would you have in the problem? Parentheses, yes. And believe you me, there's a lot of people that make it up to first variable calculus and don't know that. Heck, I've had people make it to first semester calculus and don't even know how to distribute or factor out a negative out of a trinomial. And then they wonder why they can't pass calculus. So this 9 really doesn't simplify, does it? So that means we need to focus on the c. Well, remember, I told you in the last problem, that's exponent over what? Index. So that means you're going to take the 4th root of c to the what? 5th power. Are we done? Well, that's a 50-50 answer there, y'all. I need somebody to give me some interaction. No, you're wrong. You suck. Okay? Why? Because the exponent is higher than the what? The index. So that means that one will go into the other. So I got to rewrite this. 4th root of c to the 4th times the 4th root of c to the what? 1st. Some cobwebs knocking loose. You remember doing this? Correct answer is yes, Hubert. Y'all remember doing this?
Yes.
Thank you, Anderson Campus. I appreciate it. So that gives you 9 c, 4th root of c to the 4th, or c to the 1st. No, hold on a minute. What's the, well, let me take my handy dandy red marker, and that goes out there, so that leaves c, and then the 4th root of c. So your final answer is however you want to write it. You can say the 4th root of c times 9c, or you can write 9c times the 4th root of c. They may even want it as rational exponents, which would be 9c times c to the 1/4. I don't think that would be a way they want it. They would probably want one of those two. I guarantee you some of y'all thought this was the right answer, but it's not. Again, on a scale from 1 to 10 on review, it's about a 3. Not a big deal. Okay? But you should remember it. What did they have? Okay, they wrote it as that. They didn't break it down. Okay, I was wrong. But that is the way you would write it if you were asked to break it down to its lowest point. But that's the answer.
It says do not sum.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't even, okay. Guys, do not read the directions.
Yeah.
I'm safe. I'm a guy. I don't read directions. Okay, y'all get the point. It's the 4th root of c to the 5th. Okay. I just gave y'all how to break it down. Oh, I suck. Next one. Let's go to, let's see, that was number 14. Let's go down to number 20. Okay, give me an equation of that line. Oh yeah, there are going to be some people suck on this one. I'll write it. -4, 7, and -2, -7. All right, write the equation of that line. Give y'all a minute or two. For those of you that can't remember, just sit there and play with your pencil so I'll know that you don't know what you're doing. So I can make fun of you after we get through. I mean, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Every day we're going to be doing this. We might as well have some fun with it. Right? Yes, Hubert. Thank you, class. Appreciate the interaction. So what do we got to find first? Slope. And what is the slope? The slope is equal to delta y over what? Delta x. That's the fancy way to write it. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Read from left to right. Parenthesis minus parenthesis over parenthesis minus parenthesis. Now, a lot of people make fun of my parentheses, but you know what? I can tell you without a doubt about the parentheses. If you write those parentheses down, you will never get the problem wrong unless you're not paying attention to what you're doing. I started doing those parentheses when I was at Tri-County Tech, and I went all the way through Clemson with it. Okay? Some of y'all don't need it because y'all wrote the book on calculus, but some of us do, especially when it comes to fractions and what? Negatives. We won't even throw decimals in there. Okay? We're just going to say with negatives and fractions. Okay? For those that didn't invent negatives and fractions. All right, so y sub 2 is -7. Y sub 1 is 7. X sub 2 is what? -2. X sub 1 is what? -4. That's going to be negative. I don't know what the heck this thing's doing. We all know what that is. Damn Russians. Whenever something don't go your way, people, you blame it on somebody else. Y'all understand? Okay, -7 minus 7 over -2 plus 4. You owe somebody $7, you owe somebody $7, you owe $14. You owe somebody $2, you have $4. What does that mean? You have what? $2. So your answer is -7. Now what do we do? Quit. That's what I would do. Because finding an equation is too complicated. So what do we use next? What is the equation called that we use next? Golly, you remembered. I feel faint. The point slope equation, y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. I'm going to pick a point. Does it matter? No, because You got chains and handcuffs. It really doesn't matter which one. You got negative in both of them. So it really doesn't matter which one you pick. I'm going to pick the -4 just because it's the first one. That's the only reason I'm picking it. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say -4 and 7. There's my x of 1, y of 1. And then I'm going to pull -m is equal to -7. Plug and chug. Y minus parentheses equals parentheses bracket x minus parentheses. Again, unless you're one of them people that walk on water, use those parentheses, especially when you're talking about fractions and negatives. So plug and chug. 7, -7, and -4. And that's going to give you y minus 7 is equal to -7x. That -4 will turn into a +4, but that -7 will turn the +4 into a negative what? And bring that +7 over. And that's going to give you y is equal to -7x. -28 plus 7 is negative what? Where do students get this problem wrong? Right here is where they get it wrong. Let me take my handy dandy highlighter. Right there. That's where you get it wrong. That's why the parentheses are so important. Because one, if you see this negative right here, you're going to say, okay, that negative times that negative is a positive. And you're going to say, okay, we're going to put a positive right here. Then that negative times that positive is what?
It might be.
That's one of those cases where you do 100%, 90% of the problem right, and you get 100% of the problem wrong because of 10% that you just screwed up. Okay? And let's check to see if we know what we're doing. So we'll put a 3 here. Actually, I should put a 4 because when you're in Calc 2 and 3, all the answers come out to be 4. I don't know why we did that one semester. What'd they get? -7x minus 21. Shoot, I don't need no sunglasses inside. I know what I'm doing. All right? Question. You ever seen those guys wear sunglasses in the gym? Or wear sunglasses in Target? Girls, that's an indicator. Run like hell. Run away. Because that's future domestic abuse. I'm serious. If they got a problem when they're dating, you think it's going to go away when you get married? Hell no. All right, next question. And we won't even get to the smokestacks. We won't even get to that. All right, factor. Now, I can tell you what, a large portion of your Unit 1 test is going to be factoring. If you suck at factoring, I hate it. This one says 3s squared plus 10s plus 8. Three s squared plus 10s plus 8. You're going to use the reverse FOIL method. I do not pronounce FOIL. I do not pronounce OIL. I do not pronounce anything with OIL because there's always some person in the group that's going to say I'm pronouncing it wrong. So I do not pronounce it. I just say OIL. Okay? Same thing with Clemson. The reason I say Clemson with a Z is because if you say it with a P, you're a Southern racist. Okay? Because the guys on TV will not pronounce it with a P because they don't want to be considered a Southern racist. So they pronounce it not with a P, but with a Z. So that's why I call it Clemson. Some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. Have y'all ever listened to an ESPN? Anybody ever listen to when Clemson plays on ESPN? What does the announcer say? Do they say Clemson or do they say Clemson?
It sounds like it's got a Z in it.
There you go. Every single one of them will say Clemson. Because if you say Clemson, you only got 3 teeth in your head and you're racist.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. It's just one of those words that sound like you have a P in it when you say it fast enough. It says Clemson. Clemson, Clemson. Just like how do you pronounce D-O-G? Dog? No. Just pronounce dog with a W. And if it's with a W, you're a Southern racist. All right. So we're going to use the reverse FOIL. What happened to my pick? Somebody left. Did somebody leave?
Well, push to the top.
Yeah, that was
How did it go to the top? I didn't do it. I didn't touch the mouse. This mouse is... No, it's probably Russian. Probably made Russian tariffs. Or is that Chinese tariffs right now? The world's going to end. Because we want China to treat us fairly. So the world's going to end. Something went wrong because look, I can see both of the campuses. Somebody left.
right.
Okay. Thought somebody left. All right, reverse FOIL. Dog. Somebody's thinking, how do I say OIL? How do I say Clemson? One S, 3 S. Outside, inside. 1, 8, 2, 4. I'm going to go with 2 and 4. I'm going to put a little 2 here and a little 4 there. 4, what?
Get an X there.
Whatever. 4S, that's fine, thank you. 4 and 2. Well, 4 and 6. Well, 4 and 6 give me a 10. You're supposed to say yes. Y'all suck. Plus 2, plus 4. So S plus 2 and 3S plus 4. Should be your answer. So make sure you know how to use the reverse FOIL method. Pronounce it however you would like.
What exactly did you do?
What, huh?
What exactly did you do again? Can you please do that again?
Remember, with the FOIL method, the outside and the inside has to give you the middle term. Okay? So here's the middle term. I've got to have a 10. So here's my outside, here's my inside. 1 and 3 will always give you 3, so that's not much changing. So I started with the 2 and the 4 right here. If I had put an 8 here, 8 and 1, that would have gave me 1 and 24. 1 and 24 will not give me a 10. So I'll switch it. Put a 1 here and an 8 here. 8 times 1 and 6, that's 14 or 2. That won't give me a 10. So that one, 8 and 1, doesn't work. So I put a 2 here and a 4 here. Well, outside and inside. 4 and 6 will give me a 10. So that's what I went with, 2 and 4. I went with 2 and 4. Some of you may have heard it called the trial and error method. Some people call it the rainbow method. Y'all think I made that rainbow method up? No, there's actually, back several years ago, there was a push to call it the rainbow method, and that's when they do the little squares, the little plastic squares in the classroom with the purple square and the yellow square. And did anybody ever see the little squares? It was stupid.
All the lines.
Well, that you could say that too. I don't know where they got it. I never did teach it that way. I just taught reverse FOIL. And made fun of people who said OIL wrong. Next. Now, we're getting into some of the stuff that's going to make up your whole test. Factoring, write that down. That's going to make up a good portion of your Unit 1 test. All right, there's 4 terms. You might as well quit on this one, because you only studied how to do reverse FOIL, right? Just erase one of the terms. Just do that. 12t squared minus 30t minus 2t plus 5. What are you supposed to do when you have 4 terms? Erase one of them. Yeah, you could do that. That's what I used to do. But what are you supposed to do if you have 4 terms?
Combine like terms.
Well, you could with this one, yes. Good. Or you could group the first 2 and the last 2. You could do that. It's whatever you want to do. I don't care. I didn't see that till just now, but sometimes they give you another term that you can't. And you do first term and the last term like that. But in this case, these 2 combine like terms. 12t squared. You owe somebody $30, you owe somebody $2, you owe $32 plus 5. Well, that's not a perfect square because 12 is not a perfect square and 5 sure as heck isn't a perfect square. So reverse FOIL. And I'm going to fill the 1 and the 5 out. Now why on the first one I did the 1 and the 3, it was first. Why did I do the 1 and the 5? It's last.
Because they're prime numbers.
Prime numbers, and you can't screw up a prime number. Most people can't screw up a prime number. There are some people that can break an amble with a banana. 1 times 5 will always give you what? 5. So there's no other multiples of 5, so I went ahead and put 1 times 5 there. Now I'm going to do my handy-dandy outside and inside. 1 and 12, 2 and 8, or 2 and 6, 3 and 4. I'm going to go with 3 and 4 because I have no idea. I'm going to put a little 3 here and a little 4 there. What is 15 plus 4? I'm asking y'all to interact with me. 19. What is 15 minus 4? So this is going to give us a what? A 19 or 11. What's the middle term? So you can forget 3 and 4, so let's switch it. 4 and 3.
Why would you not do your 6? You see the 5 and the 6, it'll give you 30.
You don't know that.
Okay.
You don't know that unless you've done this over and over for 15. I'm just using it. I mean, you could, if you see it, that's great. But I'm trying to show you that if you don't see it right off the bat, then this is the procedure you do. Okay? All right, so 4 times 5 is what? And 20 and 3 will give you a 23 or a 17. So 4 and 5 is what? I'm sorry, 4 and 3 is what? Out. 4 and 3 is out. You can't use 4 and 3. Now, a lot of people say, why aren't you using the 12 and 1? Because the middle term is not big compared to 12 and 5. If it was like 60 or 80 or something like that, then you would use the 12. So I can pretty much guarantee you it's probably going to be the 6 and the 2. So how are you going? I'm going to put 2 and 6 because 2 comes first. I don't know what it's going to give me. 2 and 6. What does 10 and 6 give you? A 4 or a what? 16. That's not what we want, so I'm going to switch it. Put a 6 here and a 2 here. What does 30 and 2 give you? 32. So we're going to put a 6 here, 6t, and a 2t. What does this tell us? That tells us that the largest number has to be negative. What's bigger, 30 or 2? 30. So that negative goes right there. What does this say? Like or unlike? Like. So if that's negative, this has to be what? Negative. So your answer is 6t minus 1 times 2t minus 5. Or 2t minus 5 times 6t minus 1. Now again, no matter which method you've used, you should be saying to yourself, oh yeah, I remember doing this back in Algebra 2. That's what everybody should be saying. Question, gripe, complaint. So everybody should be doing this homework. Those first 3 sections of homework is what y'all need to be working on. Some of y'all, the 13, have actually started on it. The rest of y'all pretty much suck, so I'm not going to talk to y'all. Go over and stand in the porta potty. Let's see, I'm trying to find one. Oh yeah, we might as well quit on this one. Why don't we quit on this one? Because the numbers are too what? Too big. Don't want to do that one. Just skip it. Actually, it's easy. Why? Because it's one of the shortcuts. 64 x to the second minus 144 xy plus 81 y squared. 8x minus 9y quantity squared. That's how long it should take you to do it. If you don't have that, that's not good. You should have answered it that quick. 8x minus what? 9y quantity squared. This is where we start getting into I suck at algebra in calculus. These are called the shortcuts. You remember the shortcuts? There's 5 of them. So as I start writing them, he goes, oh yeah, I remember that. But I suck at it. Because this is what I have to go through. Every time I teach calculus, they always forget these. A plus B, quantity squared, is equal to A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. These are when you were doing reverse FOIL, and the teacher told you to learn these shortcuts, and you said, oh, I don't want to learn those. I just want to do it with reverse FOIL. And now you suck at calculus. 2, A minus B, quantity squared is equal to A squared minus 2AB plus B squared. Remembering now? Are we remembering? Nobody's going to talk to me. Okay. Let's see, A cubed plus B cubed is equal to A plus B times A squared minus AB plus B squared. Write those down on a piece of paper and put it beside your notebook, because when I go over to the other problem, I need you to look at that when I show you how to do it. Now, some of y'all are going, I remember them in Algebra 2, but I never did use them. Because I knew how to do the reverse FOIL method. It's the same thing concept with completing the square. A lot of students don't know how to complete the square because the teacher showed them, and said, but they said, oh, I'll just do it with quadratic formula in my calculator. And that's why they can't do completing the square with the flip. And some people are going, what's completing the square? That's what's sad. Y'all remember them? Okay, so far I've heard a half a grunt and somebody dropped something on the floor. I'm going to ask again, do you remember them?
Yes.
I got one, yes sir, good. Pendleton, settle down. One person represents the whole group, okay? Mr. Swords, do you remember these?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so we're going to go back to the problem. Which one is it? Well, it says perfect square minus blah, blah, blah. Take the square root of this one. What's the square root of 64x squared? What's the square root of 81y squared? Multiply 2 times that. What's 2 times 72? 144. So this is a shortcut. And then you just say 8x goes where the A spot is. 9y goes where the B spot. And that's how you do it. The shortcuts should not be ignored. That's the second thing that's going to be tested on your test. Exponents, you might get 1 or 2 problems from that. But major, reverse FOIL, you should be writing this down. Exponent, just put, 1 question. But 1 or 2 questions. But you need to put reverse FOIL, you need to put a star beside it. And you need to put shortcuts, those 5 shortcuts, you need to put a star beside it. And then when we get complete the square, that's when we're going to spend a couple of days on it. Because some of y'all have no idea how to complete the square. If you do, you had me before, or you had a good teacher that taught you. If you didn't get your money's worth, you were told to do quadratic formula on your calculator no matter what. Guess what we do not use in college? The quadratic formula. You only use quadratic formula in business calculus when you have a bunch of decimals in a situation with a quadratic.
Is that Matt 1/3?
Yep. That's when you use the quadratic formulas, when you got a bunch of decimals. So whoever told you that, you didn't get your money's worth.
Yeah, no, I just wasted $500 last night.
Did you?
I did.
Why?
Because I'm just trying to review for Calc 2.
Yeah.
And my advisor from Thomas Edison's like, oh, we can take this to lead up to this. It's like pre-calc. These aren't the same.
Yeah.
I don't read this shit.
Yeah, they don't. It's not a bit, not the same at all.
Yeah.
So your advisor there didn't know what he was doing either. When it comes to, always remember this, y'all. When it comes to science and math, you better make sure the person you're talking to knows what they're doing, because most people don't know their butt from a hole in the ground when it comes to math and science. That's why we have underwater firefighting degrees, gender studies, global studies. Then they go out and try to get a job, and they can't get a job, and they can't pay off the student loans, so then they start crying about the college and the degree and the economy and say that the government owes them money. Whatever. Just make poor decisions. You make your bed, you lay in it. You get an underwater firefighting degree, you live with it. I'm sorry. Just the nerve there. Sorry about that. There we go. Well, we better start with completing the square. We better start off slow on that one, because some of y'all blow a fuse real quick. All right, here's a simple problem completing the square. X squared plus 14x equals 10. X squared plus 14x equals 10. And I'm going to bring that to the whiteboard. X squared plus 14x equals 10. X squared plus 14x equals 10. First thing I did was put the blanks. Now, how many of you remember completing the square decently? How about Pendleton? How many of you remember completing the square decently? No hands. How about Easley? I only see 2 people. There's a third person, but I only see the laptop.
There's the hand.
There's a hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember? I better guarantee you know how to put it in a calculator with quadratic formula.
What you do? You have y on both sides, right?
No, I don't think so. You take half of the middle term and square it and add it on both sides. I think that's what you're talking about. So here is completing the square. B divided by 2 and squared. What's 14 divided by 2?
7,
7 squared?
49.
And that will set you up with shortcut number 1 or number 2. You are getting right now into the heart of why students can't do calculus. Because I guarantee you, there's somebody at the Pendleton campus, there's somebody at the Easley campus, and there's somebody here going, where the hell did this come from? Anybody want to volunteer?
Sure.
Is that what you said to yourself? Where did this come from?
The math just kind of blends together at this point, so I know I'm in trouble.
Okay, well, we're going to work through it. That's why we got the 3 sets of homework. We're going to spend some time on it. Anybody from the Anderson campus or the Pendleton campus want to elaborate?
Is it that whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side? So after you do that to the other side, you got to...
Well, you're going to have to add on the right side, but you have to use shortcut 1 or 2 on the left side.
Oh, after that?
No, I think you're talking about just solving equations. Solving equations is when you do on one side, you do on the other. So somebody tell me what you get here. X plus what?
X plus squared.
Good. X plus 7 quantity squared equals
59.
Good job. Now, at this point, what time is it? Is it time to go?
Yes.
It is? You are kidding me. Oh my gosh, what? Is it time to go? Oh wow. Well, I heard zippers, and when y'all do the zippers, that means it's time to go. All right, we'll continue with completing the square. Work on those 3 sections of homework. Let me call the roll right quick, if y'all don't mind. Let me pull it up right quick. We over or under? We're over? I'm sorry. Y'all got to tell me this stuff. I'm on the board. I'm not even thinking about it. Okay, attendance. I'll go the other direction. I'll just go this way. 1:30. Attendance. I hate doing this. Okay, Bryson, you can leave after I call your name.
Here.
Bryson?
Here.
Okay, Castles.
Here.
Rico.
Here.
Gusmus.
Here.
Howell.
I'm here.
Okay, yeah, he's here. Jones.
Here.
Taylor. No Taylor? Underwood. No Underwood. Williams.
Yep. Here.
And Wilson is here. No, Wilson, yeah, she was here. Okay, now I'll do the Easley campus because I know y'all got to go. I don't know which one's Easley. Which one's Easley? 4 or 5. Okay, who's missing? Let's see, because there's supposed to be 4 there. Okay, Swords is there.
Yeah.
Sterling?
Here.
Roland is here. Oh, she's not there. That's why. And so everybody's there today. Okay. Miss Roland didn't. She Skyped in. Okay, and the Anderson campus. Y'all have a good day. Work on that homework. Okay, Hubert. Thank you, class. Okay, Barnes is here. Brock.
Here.
Iyabi, is it Iyabi?
Yeah.
Is it Iyabi?
Yeah.
Iyabi is here. Patel is here. Rudiger is here. Story.
Here.
All right, y'all have a good day and work on that homework. Send in questions.
Do you mind finishing the problem?
Huh?
Do you mind finishing the problem?
Yes, ma'am. Which problem?
The completed.
Oh, well, we're going to have to start over, but I'll go ahead and finish it. Because really I couldn't finish it today, but I'll finish it for you. Okay, so at this point, you can solve for x, or you can find your vertex. The vertex is going to be, I can't even spell. The vertex is the opposite of the first one, -7, and the opposite of That one. So there's your vertex. You can also write it in vertex form, which looks like this. F of x is equal to x plus 7 quantity squared minus 59, and the vertex will give you the opposite of this, and then you bring this up. Okay, so this is the vertex information that you get from that point. So that's one way you can go. The other way is to solve for x. I didn't stop the recording, did I? Good. It keeps on going. Oh, Mr. Howell, you still there? Oh, I thought it was solve for x. So x plus 7 quantity squared is equal to 59. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 7 is equal to the square root of 59. X is equal to the square root of 59 minus 7. And you punch that in a calculator and get a decimal. And this would be your x-intercepts. They call it solutions, but basically it's your x-intercepts. And that's where it comes out real handy in marketing when you're in the business calculus. You can find your x-intercepts. But with a decimal, you don't want to do completing the square with a decimal because you beat yourself up a head against the wall. It's just not possible. Completing the square lets you do all this in your head because you can do all of it is basically 6th grade math. Okay? What do you mean, Hubert? Well, what'd you do here? You took a blank and you took half of 14, that's 6th grade math and below. You squared it, that's 6th grade math and below. You put it on both sides, you added it right here. And then here's the algebra 2, the shortcut. From here to here, that's algebra 2. And then you took the opposite of both the numbers, that's not hard. And then over here, you took algebra 2, you solved using the square root method, and you got that. So there's not a lot of brain power in this as far as algebra 2 or pre-cal or calculus. It's all algebra 2 and 6th grade math, so it's real easy to do. What can you get from this? Well, you know your x-intercepts. The square root of 59, the square root of 64 is what, 8? So I'm just going to say the square root of 59 is 7.8. Okay? So that's going to be 7, positive or negative, 7.8 minus 7. Well, 7.8 minus 7 is 0.8. So 0.8 would be right there. Negative 7 minus 7 is negative 14.8. 5, 10, 15. 14.8 would be there. My vertex is negative 7. That's 5. 7 would be down here. And negative 59 would be way the heck down here. My y-intercept is 49. No, negative 10. Negative 10 would be, so your parabola looks something like that. And then you can do your domain range, increasing and decreasing values, which we're going to get to the next meeting. Okay? So, come on in. I'm just going over a problem. That's fine. We're finishing class.
Okay, go ahead, Hubert.
So that's it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We'll finish completing this. We're gonna spend the whole class on completing the square next class. Because that's on a scale of 1 to 10 difficulty. This is a 1. By the end of the next class, I'll have you up to 10.
This really sucks. I'm not very happy right now. I'm supposed to be taking Calc 2.
Well, I teach this in business calculus.
Right, but
because you have to learn, you have to know all the ways to factor.
Okay, I can do limits and all this shit.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but as far as the factoring and all this shit, I did not have to do that in that 1-3. So now I'm having to relearn shit from like 12, 15 years ago.
Yeah, you should have learned it.
This sucks.
I do this same review because I'm going to be honest with you. You can't do the derivative and you can't do the antiderivative unless you know your algebra. And even if you're in business math, you have to have that. Business calc or first variable calc, you have to have it.
That was a lot easier than trying to recall. some of these. Maybe it's just a different method that I was able to recall. I don't know, but I mean, this sucks.
Don't worry, you're here to get ready for one.
Okay, let me ask
You will. You'll get ready for.
Directly built off of this course.
Yeah.
Off this specific Nat 140 course.
And where did you take it?
I just took it with up at Pendleton campus.
Where?
Nat 130 up there at Pendleton campus.
Who'd you have?
Amanda Norris.
Well, she should have taught you this stuff. She didn't review at all.
She did some review, but it was not.
Well, see, some teachers, they go directly by the syllabus.
Yeah.
I don't.
She does. She was a very
Yeah. And you see what I did? I threw in another homework. Why? Because they didn't cover factoring.
Yeah.
They didn't cover exponents. They didn't cover
Factoring, exponents, all that stuff was incorporated. I recall that. That was easy. But as far as the shortcut methods and stuff, I didn't have to do that because I could plug that in the calculator.
Yeah. You don't want to depend on the calculator. The calculator has its place in calculus.
Yeah.
But it's not for the algebra. You need to know how to break this stuff up.
Okay. Am I going to need to retain this, specifically working this out for Calc 2? Or by that point, is it just assumed, hey, look, you're going to go?
No. By the time you get through with this class, you're going to have it.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. That's why I'm spending so much time on this.
Yeah.
Ask my 130 class last semester. We spent 3 weeks on algebra.
Okay.
Because they would have all sucked. And I had at least, hold on a second, I can't chew gum and talk.